Good morning, commissioners. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the April 14th, 2022 Cumberland County Commissioners Workshop meeting. If you would please stand and join me for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I call this meeting to order at 9 a.m. and I open up the floor to public comments. Hearing none and seeing none, we'll move on then to agenda item number 3, which is contracts and grants. I'm calling Tammy Hershey.
Thank you, Stacy. Agenda item number 3, numeral 1, is existing contracts, contract extensions, or addenda with no additional cost or increase to the county. Commissioners, do you have any questions, comments, or concerns regarding the agreements for children and youth or liquid fuels finance? Hearing none, we will move on to agenda item number 3, numeral 2, which consists of new contracts, vendors, services granting, and contracts with increases or decreases to the county. I will begin by calling on Jack Carroll to discuss the contract for drug and alcohol. Good morning, Jack.
Good morning, commissioners. This is an agreement with Millersville University for their bachelor's degree in social work program. There's no money exchange involved in this. This simply spells out the respective responsibilities of the university and our agency when we have social work interns working with our agency. We do have a current employee who has an internship coming up, and that's why we want to enter this agreement. It has been vetted by Solicitor Brenneman. Any questions?
Jack?
Yes.
Next, I will call on.
Oh, that's all? Okay, thank you.
I don't think I heard you. I think
Okay.
you did.
There are no questions. Thank you, Jack.
But Jack, your image this morning is gorgeous. You obviously got a new camera or a new computer.
Yes, thanks to IMTO, I have a new laptop now, so
Awesome.
there you go. Thank you.
Thank
If
you.
you didn't see this, we don't have a copy of it, but I see it's signed off.
I did see it.
Okay, I did read it. Very good, thank you.
Thank you. Next, I will call on Holly Sherman to discuss the contract for human resources. Holly?
Good morning, commissioners. The contract is with Caldera HR. That is the applicant tracking system, formerly known as HiRel. They are transitioned to Caldera HR, and we are seeing a decrease of $11 for this next contract. So just a small decrease. Any questions? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Holly. I will now call on Andy Benner to discuss the contract for juvenile probation.
Good morning, Commissioners. This contract is with MPL Consulting Services, and I just now, as I heard some of the other discussions, this is who we use to track our data. I did give you a packet of some of the dashboards that we're currently using and have created over the years. I have more copies. This is a live data collection set. So anytime information is entered, it's immediately processed and adjusts all the dashboards. So it's something that's accessible online. Like I have a portal I go to, and I could certainly, speak more to it at another time if you want more information or would like to see some of what we're doing. MPL Consulting, we've worked with for a couple of years now. We were utilizing it through so from a budget standpoint, this isn't any cost of increase or decrease. Just because we've been using them since 2018, 2019, I felt that it was more appropriate at this point to go ahead and establish a set contract with this particular entity. So it's roughly about the same price that we've been paying them. So what it goes towards is the maintenance of there's a lot with IMTO, a lot of work that's done with IMTO to keep the system functioning. And then also to do some data cleanup, make sure our data is lining up with what some of our hard data is, to make sure that we have some good data hygiene. And then usually annually, we create 3 to 4 more additional dashboards, looking at different factors and variables And it's just keep building on it. So eventually, you know, we may have 50 to 100 different things we can look at. Any questions?
Pretty awesome, right?
Super awesome. And I'm enjoying the term data hygiene.
Yeah, well, and if anyone's interested, it's, you know, like I said, we do try to look at some of these things. You know, we just don't want to capture data. Obviously, there's a lot of data that we capture that we look at, but it involves a lot of our decisions. You know, we look at things. The biggest thing that stands out most recently is we've really taken a look at what is kind of leads to placement costs and what are some of those factors. Like family circumstances for us and some of these breakdowns you can see, that's the biggest difference when it comes to youth that we get come into our system. So if we're seeing they're high risk in family circumstances, that particular group tends to go to out-of-home placement more than others. So certainly those are groups we want to make sure that we get services in place immediately, because our ultimate goal is to try and bring down those types of cases. So we do use the information in building programs and really a lot of what we do. Obviously, we look at costs, we look at recidivism. Cumberland County is pretty low in recidivism, so it's not, you know, we're at the bottom. It's tough to, you know, to kind of maintain where we're at, but we are trying to go back. Some of the ROI stuff I have in there that you've seen is a little skewed. I'm trying to go back to clean some of that up. There was an earlier study done from 2009 to 2012 that looked at recidivism to the age of 21. Our current definition is 2 years post-discharge. So I'm in a process right now of going back through that original study, pulling all those cases, applying the new definition, coming up with a starting point, because then I think that ROI will be a lot more accurate than what it is right now. So hopefully that's something we can have as a positive outcome and report out later on. So there's no further questions? Thank you.
Thank you. I will now call on Sue Carbo to discuss the MHIDD contract.
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. So the contract that we have today is for Invo Healthcare Associates. It's an amendment to their fiscal year 21-22 contract. It's an increase of $21,278 due to additional services, with the services being they do the evaluations for the children. Any questions?
I don't believe. Thank you, Sue.
You're welcome.
I will now call on Kirk Stoner to discuss the contract for planning. Kirk?
All right, good morning, Commissioners. The agenda item today is $10,000 from the, Gina, you laughing at my shirt?
You are very green. And it looks like you have a green filter.
You are radiating.
Well, I'm on my way out to the HHW events. This is my safety clothing for the day, so I make it through the day.
All
But
right.
I sense a lot of envy on the board of them also
I hear
wanting
you.
a shirt. So,
I love that.
Green with
It's
it.
great.
yeah.
Green. The room is green. That's amazing. Somebody get a photo of that.
So this grant is $10,000 from the Housing and Redevelopment Authority from Community Development Block Grant Funds to help update our county comprehensive plan. So I'm working with the County Planning Commission update, really the future land use component of that plan, which we want to put some new ideas and a new look to that. And we'll be doing that over the course of the next year and a half.
Awesome.
Thank you, Kirk.
All right, thank you.
I'll now call on John Bittner to discuss the contract for vector control.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
This is a 5-year MOU with State of Pennsylvania and the Weights and Measures Office. Basically, it delineates specific responsibilities that we have under Weights and Measures, and then everything else is done by them. No cost. It's just a 5-year agreement, and at any time, either party with 60 days written notice can back out of the MOU.
Any questions?
I didn't wear my yellow shirt because I figured he was wearing his.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah. It'll be fine. His was green.
yeah, it is.
He was like incredible.
You're right, the background was green. I like it.
Yeah. It's like,
Thank
It was.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you for the work, sir.
Yes.
That concludes the contracts and grants. Excuse me. I'll now turn the meeting back over to Stacy.
Thank you, Tammy. Agenda item number 4 is a discussion of Cumberland County surplus property. I'll call on Yvonne Swarner. Hi, Yvonne.
Good morning, Commissioners. Facilities management is seeking approval to advertise for the sale of surplus inventory and to use the municipal bid platform from May 1st until December 31st of this year. We're also seeking approval to sell one titled vehicle, a 2006 Ford Expedition.
Do you have any questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Agenda items 5 through 7 are all related to authorizations to advertise for bids, and I'll call on Christine Bowden to discuss those.
Good morning. Good morning. The first one is to ask to get bids to provide hoarding services. We currently have a contract, but we're going to be limited to $11,000 for this fiscal year, and that we know that as time goes on that we will need more than $11,000 for a hoarding contract. So that's why we're asking to go out on bid for vendors that can provide these services. The same thing with the pest control. We're finding that unfortunately we have more and more people that have bed bugs and things, and if we can have a vendor that would be able to get the bed bugs out, then we would be able to get providers into their homes to help them with the services that they need, and other types of things that make vendors not want to go into homes. The third one is also for lawn and snow removal. Some of the cases are the people are so old they can't do it, they don't know anyone, but we can provide those services if we can find a vendor that will do that for them. And all of these would be paid through the American Rescue Funds that we will have for the next 2 years. We do know that after those 2 years, we may have to cut the amount that we spend on these services, but for the next 2 years, we know that we could exceed what the contract without going out for bid.
Any questions for Christine? Thank you. All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 8 is Commissioners' Liaison Reports, and I'll start by calling on Commissioner Eichelberger.
Okay, sure. Just a couple of things. Of course, today, let me start with this. Recycling and Waste has their board meeting on Monday. Plan to be there. And the main topic is the continuation of discussion on the provisions in the updated waste management plan that we're required to produce every 10 years. I reported back some preliminary numbers last workshop in which we identify there's more than sufficient capacity available for us to meet the obligations that the state has established for us in terms of meeting need. So that continues to roll out. Just a reminder, the household hazardous waste event is today from 11 to 5, I believe. That of course requires an appointment. If anybody, I don't think that's full yet, but I can't swear to that. So certainly anybody wants to pop in over there and provide help, that would be most welcome. If anybody's can still get into a slot, there are 15-minute intervals at which the slots are available. That does require pre-registration. So call the planning office, recycling office, and get that. You still have an opportunity today. Just briefly on Katie, we got a nice update last week from Gary Chicatano, and just following up on that, we have of course the top priority for the organization right now is the talent acquisition and development undertaking. That's in full swing. There are 3 candidates right now who are moving to the second round of interviews there, and unlike past efforts, we seem to have a nice pool of candidates. And the chair of the board, Crystal Quinton, says that there's probably going to be, that they can identify candidates for some of the other positions that will be opening out of that pool. So that's going to end up being a pretty nice effort if everything turns out as expected. So the workforce development facility feasibility study has been underway for a while. That committee has finally issued their preliminary draft. I believe that committee is going to be sending a representative, or else Chicatano is going to do it. I'm not sure, but that is going to be presented to the board of directors at the Katy board meeting. I believe this month's meeting. So we have the structure and staffing effort that was underway by Monica's firm, and that final report is done and completed. That's going to be reported out as well. So we saw some preliminaries on that last week, the structure that's been determined to work for the organization for now. But we're looking forward to the implementation phase on that, which with the hiring underway, that's already started. So Work Development Committee met last week. They reported out to Executive Committee. We had an Executive Committee meeting earlier this week. Also a number of items in regard to the Alliance membership and some changes to lending that we think will incentivize our long-term Alliance members. That's going to be a positive development, we think, both for lending and for Alliance retention. Of course, Gary reported to us on the successful Ag Dairy Education Center demonstration farm project. He continues to believe that we are very well positioned for that. Tourism continues to really develop, and we've got a report from Kristen last week that's very successful. Also wanted to mention that I think Gary alluded to this last week, that there's an EPA assessment grant that Katie is working on and applying for in partnership with Housing and Redevelopment and County Planning. And that is specifically to evaluate the Frog Switch location down here, which will be that the company's vacating. But we're looking at potentially using that to assess a complete inventory of brownfield sites in the county, something that's been talked about for a long time. It just was the resources were not available. We may finally be there. That, of course, would be helpful to the REC, the Real Estate Collaborative. And Real Estate Collaborative continues to be very active and is working diligently toward the final steps of the sale of the Tyco property in North Hanover here. There's a Hanover Street. There's a zoning issue they're working through on that. Lastly, Mr. Chicatano attended the Penn State University Harrisburg campus's Summit on Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. This is a workforce development initiative by that school. As we have seen, a number of the facilities, institutions in the area are working on workforce development. We're working to stay connected to all of them and to try to bridge them together where it makes sense. And the Workforce Development Committee is continuing on development of its game plan. In fact, Mr. Tuckey left a message for me. I need to call him back today. So we'll be getting more specifics on that soon. So as you can see, lots going on at Katie. And so far, going good. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Fox.
Good morning, everyone. On April 11th, I attended the Cumberland County Office of the District Attorney Stop Violence Against Women team meeting, and two things came out of that that are very interesting. Wednesday, April 27th, 2022, from 10 to 11 a.m., Penn State Holy Spirit. We'll do an introduction of the Hampton and Holy Spirit Medical Center Sexual Assault Nurse Examiner, or SANE team. So that is Wednesday, April 27th from 10 to 11 a.m. In case anyone on the board would like to attend, I know that's on my calendar. I will be there. And I just wanted to remind everyone that April 26th of 2022 at 6 p.m., this will be the annual Crime Victims' Rights Week rally. So that will happen at 6 p.m. at the old courthouse. The governor declared April 24th to April 30th, Second Chance Month and Reentry Week. So Reentry Day in Cumberland County is April 30th, and that will be held at the YWCA. I'll have more information as the flyer goes out on Reentry Day in Cumberland County. And at the Western COG, that meeting was on Monday, April 11th. CapCog was there to talk about a different fee structure for the Western COG municipalities that that join CapCog. So Gary Martin was there. He gave a nice overview of the services that CapCog provides. And Penn Township mentioned that PennDOT has been working on Interstate 81 entrance and exit ramps in the evenings without notifying them. So those entrance and exit ramps are not available for use to emergency services. So Commissioner DiFilippo, I saw the magic that you've worked with PennDOT here in the past day or so, and I'm wondering if maybe we could contact them about that issue. And I would remind everyone to use the library, and that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner DeFilippo.
Yeah, I have one report. SDA Preservation Board met yesterday morning. Main topic of discussion was looking at the rankings for the 2021 applications, which we had 28. We have a couple of good potential for clusters. We're continuing discussion of that next month, and we should be able to finalize rankings at that time. Meetings coming up, that I'll have a report at the next workshop will be CapCog, which meets Monday, April 18th, and Conservation District, which meets April 26th. And just a reminder, not this weekend, but next weekend, the Conservation District has its tree seedling sale over at Allen Road campus. And just an update on median barriers. Last December, I paid PennDOT a little visit about asking them why there are no median barriers from approximately mile marker 50 up through mile marker 57, which is the Mechanicsburg exit. And where mile marker 55 was a crossover accident last summer that killed 2 little kids. I followed up with them again on Tuesday and found out that they had done a study and concluded that yes, median barriers are necessary and they will move forward with that project. Don't know the exact dates, but it is on their list. And I think, Gene, you had mentioned something at the last HATS meeting on this. So, and Representative Klein also got involved here too. So thank everybody who was involved with this. I think it's a good thing. And I think that is it for me, Stacy.
Thank you, Commissioner. All right, that takes us to agenda item number 9, and I would like to report that there was an executive session held on April 13th, 2022 at 9:30 a.m. regarding personnel. Is there any other business that needs to come before the board today? Hearing none, seeing none, we are adjourned.